Lab number 710. What we will try to do now is we will try to move this application that's working on our local host, meaning virtual machine, to mobile device or mobile emulator that is independent from our virtual machine. Basically, that means that we will create mock server, we will create our MobileFirst Foundation instance somewhere abroad, and in our case it will be Bluemix based environments, and we will use Bluemix based servers. We will actually push our mock server and foundation server there and make a connection from mobile device to those two. And in this lab, we will start with the mock server. So as you remember, mock server is basically a Node.js application. So let me close everything else. So we will have only mock server here. So mock server consists of server.js, which is like a main file for our server with the couple of functions inside and a couple of modules that we installed, and also the data folder that has the employees data, news data, and shadow data inside as the JSON files that gets read when particular things like, for example, shadow will be called. So this is exactly what we are going to push to Bluemix. So first of all, let's go to Bluemix itself and log in inside using our credentials. So afterwards, we need to go to our catalog, and from there we will be interested in Cloud Foundry app, and basically we will need the Node.js application. So we can select Cloud Foundry application firstly from compute node, and then from there select SDK for Node.js. So here we can enter any unique application name. So I will type mock advanced messenger, something like that, but without the typos. And this will be my host name. You can make it shorter if you want, like mock IAM will be more suitable here, because this will be the URL that you will try to access to call those APIs. That's all that you need. Just click create afterwards. So it may take some time, it may be quick, it depends on your network connection. And so we are here. So there is the sample example of how to get started. So basically what we will need to do is we will need to download that starter code that we will modify. This is the first thing. Then we will need to have two command line interfaces installed. So this is the Cloud Foundry and IBM Bluemix interfaces. So let's start with Cloud Foundry. Installation is pretty simple. We just need to select our operation system. In our case, what we will need to have is the Debian 64-bit for this particular operation system. Together with that, we need the Bluemix command line interface. So also Linux 64-bit, just like that. So now we can install those two. For that, let's open our terminal, open one more tab, and navigate to our downloads folder first. And down from there we have the command line interface as the dep package for Cloud Foundry, so that one can be installed right away with the -i, which means install and then that package name. And of course that one should be done under sudo, so just type sudo before. And password is the same as always, Q with uppercase, Q with lowercase, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's it. And then we need to also install the second one. So this is a Bluemix command line interface, and that should be unpacked first. So type tar -xvf and then the name itself. So as you can see, we now have the Bluemix command line interface folder. And also under sudo, just launch this install Bluemix command line interface. So we will have it here. We can just close terminal and open one more tab and try to so yeah, use Cloud Foundry, and it should be done under sudo, or we can also change the permissions down there for that folder to make it work. So by default, if you're running it without the sudo, you can see that it gets you get an error. So the issue is with this particular folder. So what we can do is we can change the permissions for those, or we can even change the owner for those. Like do it recursively and do it for home IBM.cf folder, and we will do it for our user, which is IBM. And now running these commands will be totally fine without sudo permissions. And let's try the second one, which is the Bluemix, and Bluemix working fine. So this is exactly what we were needed as the prerequisites. And now we can continue with the starter code. So what we will do, we'll open a terminal and navigate to our downloads folder, and down there is our starter code. And what we need to do is just to unpack it somewhere, because it's zip, we will use unzip for that. And then the name of our zip archive, mock AdvancedMessenger, -d, and the location. And as location, we will provide our dev workspaces AdvancedMessenger, and then something like sample node app. So we can have it in the same environment, in the same Visual Studio Code as the normal server. So here we have our node sample application, and basically you may see that there is a difference between the mock server and sample node app. So there is first of all the ignore file that will ignore node modules once it will be pushed to actually Bluemix itself, using the Cloud Foundry. Second thing, it has the project file, which actually has the general settings for it. Then instead of server, we have here app.js file, changelog and readme we ignoring. Then we have manifest, which defines the memory allocation, number of instances, domain name and host, with the disk quota for our Cloud Foundry application. And last one is the package JSON that is used when we are pushing that to Bluemix. The most important for us will be dependencies, because instead of using the node modules and pre-installed ones, we will need to supply it with the right dependencies that will be fetched during the push. So what we will do is we will move all those files to mock server, starting with ignore, continue with project file, continue with manifest file, and also package JSON. We don't need to move app.js, but we need some things from it. So first, we need to add the dependency to this CF environment with requirement to CF_env, and that should be added to our server.js right on the top, so somewhere like here after request. So this is the first thing. The next thing for us will be to change the way how we started the server. So we were listening on a specific port, and now we will change that thing, so we can copy those two last things from our app.js and replace our listen in server.js. So this server.js can be just saved. We don't need to do anything else here. Regarding the app.js and everything else in that sample node folder, basically we don't need it anymore, so we can simply delete that one. So now let's go back to our mock server. As I said, we need to modify dependencies. And we also need to change the start script because it was running previously app.js file, and we have the name changed to server.js. And the dependencies can be copied from description for this lab. You can manually enter them. The idea is pretty simple. You just need to go to the server.js file, and all those things that you require needs to be added as a dependency. For example, body parser should look like this. You just add in a new line, just saying the name of that, and then providing the version, the minimal version that you require. If you will type any digit and place dot, it will automatically show you the current latest version installed, and in this case it's 1.15.2, and instead of 2 I can put X, meaning whatever minor version will be there, I'm fine. And afterwards you are continue with the next one, with the compression course and so on. So as I said, instead you can copy those from the description of lab series. This is exactly what I will do. I will just pass those from description, and afterwards we can continue. So this package JSON can be simply saved, and we don't need to do anything else with it. We also can close the tab with downloads folder and navigate, for example, from CDV Live to our mock server, and go back to the instruction that we had in that Bluemix service. So what they're saying to do to us, we need to go to folder, we need to connect to Bluemix using this command. So you're just copying that and passing inside your terminal window, inside mock server folder. Okay, cool. Then you need to log in, and this line will represent the proper username and the proper info, meaning, for example, in my case, it's also saying about the space and so on. So you just copy this, you just need to copy this line, and it will have all required parameters from you. The only thing you will be prompted with is password. So enter your password here. Afterwards, just press enter. You will proceed with authentication, and afterwards you will be logged inside. So you see the space, you see the organization and everything as you're supposed to have. So finally, the last thing you can do, you can actually push. So this is the command that you need to do for push, and this is exactly what is expected. So just go to the console and type in the command. It may take a while, because it really depends on your network connection. It will upload all those files, it will do some stuff, so just wait until everything will be finished. So now our mock server is there, and we should be able to access it by going to that URL. And as you remember, we had the API thing to show that our APIs are running, and it seems like they are running. So let's check a couple of things. So we'll go to our server.js and see what we had there. So previously we had shadow and we had distance that were secured with our MobileFirst foundation. So let's check, for example, shadow. And yep, we are getting unauthorized, everything is cool. Let's check something that was working and returning us the body from JSON, like employees, for example, endpoint. And yes, we are getting the list of employees. So actually our mock server is working as expected. And now what we need to do is make our application aware of that mock server. So as you remember, in our applications, we were doing just few direct calls. So those were in shadow provider, but those direct calls were also using WL resource request. So these two should be replaced. just like that. And everything else was done through adapters. So like news provider, for example, we're calling the adapters the Java HTTP. So when we are changing something there, we need to change actually the way how adapter works. So for that, we need to change the adapters itself. So let's go to Java HTTP adapter first. So this is the host that we were calling previously, localhost. Now it will be changed to our proper URL. It still will be HTTP, but the port nowadays will be just 80. Everything else remains the same, so it's still news and it should still work. Just like that. So this is regarding the Java adapter. And the same thing should be done for JavaScript adapter. So our employee adapter in adapter XML was going to localhost. And now we should go to mock AdvancedMessenger MyBluemix.net. And port number 80. Just like that. So now it's time to go to our adapter and build them. So let's go to JavaScript first, employee adapter, AppDef adapter build. And then deploy. And now the same for Java. So that one was called Java HTTP, the folder name was, and the same build, and afterwards deploy. Okay, and now we need to go back to our application, so AdvancedMessenger, and because we did a change in client-side code, we also need to apply those changes, so we need to launch another version of our app. So what we can do is we can simply type mfp def then app web update to build the latest pack of web resources and push it to our server. So the next time the application will be connected to a server, we can get those updated things. So what we need to do is just to go to another tab. We can see that update is available. We can grab the latest version. And here we have our application. So let's enter the correct one, username and the password. And let's also go to inspection. So what do we have here? Let's start from the beginning. So we got actually the first response from the adapter with the news. That was fine. Then we failed to load data from adapter for a distance, and that's why we failed to get normal shadow, and then the error comes with the shadow display. So what we can do is we can also check the logs for our mock server. So for that we need to go to our application and click on Logs tab. So the error with the distance and shadow is actually expected because that one needs a connection to our server with MobileFirst Foundation, which doesn't exist on Bluemix yet, and of course it cannot find anything on localhost. So that is expected. As you remember, In server.js, we had a config at the beginning that defines the strategy with the specific server, client ID, and so on. And just because we don't have it locally, that is why all those things are happening. So that one will be fixed in our next lab by creating the foundation server. On this step, this lab is finished. Thank you.